What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cab Show. NFL Week 14 was kind of terrible for me. I went with the upset pick in Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the San Francisco 49ers, and I was way off. I was completely off the grid. I cannot believe it. Look, Father Time has come for Tom Brady. I think, this is it for him. I think this is his last year, and I think that's it. He will be the GOAT. He will go down as the GOAT. But I just think the whole Tampa Bay right now is slow, and they just don't look nice. They really don't. And really, we got to give it up to Brock Purdy, man. This guy, he's the last pick of the NFL draft this year. He's a rookie. That's amazing to me because it's kind of like a similar story to the GOAT, right? The GOAT wasn't the last pick, but he was basically one of the last in the backpack of getting picked up by an NFL team. What do we know? The Patriots pick him up. But for Brock, it was the San Francisco 49ers that gave him a shot, which is crazy because they ended up getting Trey Lance a couple years before that, and they relied on Jimmy G. But no, I think Brock Purdy right now, I think he's the number one quarterback for San Francisco, and San Francisco is a team to be reckoned with. They are a team that really could go to the Super Bowl this year. They got the talent. They got McCaffrey who's balling out. Even though Deebo Samuel did get hurt with that ankle injury, he will be back come playoff time. That's what we do know. So that is huge news. Great news for the San Francisco 49ers. And I just think, with everything that San Francisco's doing, with Brock, it's just everything's flowing right. He's playing right. And I feel like in the pocket, he's really composed. It's like he's been there for so long, yet he's a rookie. The last pick in the NFL draft, dude. That is crazy. That is insane. But, for Brady, I do think it's it. I really do. I think, really, I thought Brady should have retired a couple years ago. I think he should have retired back in 2020 when they beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl. When he went to Tampa his first year, I thought, hey, just set off to the sunset. Tom, you're the GOAT. You have 7 Super Bowl championships. What else do you need, dude? And I understand all the off-field situation that's going on with Tom Brady and the GOAT, but hey, everybody takes it now. Even the GOAT takes it now. So I took many L's, and I think Tom Brady, he understands that, look, I can take an L. And even if they do make the playoffs this year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I just starting to realize that, hey, they're probably not going to do anything. They're really not. They just don't look like the same team. The mojo is kind of off as well. So I'm looking at it thinking, man, what a story it was for Tom Brady. A 6th-round draft pick, I think 199th overall, and just to pan out the way he is, won 6 Super Bowls with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With the New England Patriots, won 6, and then he goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and wins first year in Tampa, wins the Super Bowl. Something you can't really make up. You can't even script it in a movie. It's insane to me, but shout out to the GOAT. But San Francisco, like I said, they're a team that's going to run deep in the playoffs this year, and if Brock Purdy plays the way he's been playing, I think the San Francisco 49ers are dark horse to win it all. They have the talent, dude, on both sides of the field, on defense and offense. So I think, San Francisco right now, they are a team that I would really recommend you putting big money on because I think they can really run deep. So huge win by the San Francisco 49ers. I was way off with the upset pick, way off, but huge win by the San Francisco 49ers. And then we had the Buffalo Bills beating the New York Jets, which I went money line, which it did hit because they were 10-point favorites coming in. They only won by 8. And I just think for the Buffalo Bills right now, offensively, they're not really clicking as much. I think Josh Allen, I think he just tries to do a little too much in the pocket sometimes, or just tries to do too much for the team, puts it on his back, which I like that about Josh Allen, but there's some games where it's like you don't necessarily have to do some of the things. You don't have to do some of the extra stuff that Josh Allen does. I just think for the Buffalo Bills, losing Von Miller is a huge loss. It really is. So to win a Super Bowl, you got to have a lot of things go your way, right? But Josh Allen this game really balled out. 47 yards rushing and a touchdown, 147 yards passing. And then we saw Dawson Knox with that 41 yards receiving. And we saw that crazy touchdown he did. He did a flip into the end zone in Buffalo when it was snowing. It was just great. Great for Buffalo Bills getting the dub against the Jets. Mike White did get hurt. Hopefully he comes back. I mean, he really put it out there, and he's been really balling out this past month after he replaced Zach Wilson. So I think, Zach Wilson, are we going to see him, this year in the lineup? Who knows? It could be a possibility, but I think if Mike White gets back to normal before the end of this weekend, he needs to play. They need him. The New York Jets 100% need him. Garrett Wilson, 78 yards receiving. So I think the Jets, man, they're still a game of above 500, which is kind of crazy to think that the New York Jets are above 500 right now. Like, who would have thought that? That is crazy. But big win by the Buffalo Bills at home. They get another home game that's coming up. But like I said, the Buffalo Bills, if they're going to win the Super Bowl, it starts with Josh Allen and that offense. They can't just 3-and-out all the time. And I think they're going to start to correct that. It's getting towards the end of the season. I can't wait to see what happens, but a huge win by the Buffalo Bills. And then we got the Cleveland Browns versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I picked the Bengals in this matchup. This was probably one of the easiest picks all weekend. The Bengals did win. They're on a 5-game win streak right now, and it starts with Joe Burrow. 239 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and a pick. They did get Joe Mixon back. He had 96 yards rushing, and Jamar Chase, 119 yards receiving and a touchdown. Shout out to Jamar Chase. That boy is nice. He can ball out, and I think him staying healthy with T. Higgins, man, I'm telling you, and Tyler Boyd, I just think the Bengals, they're another X-Factor team, another dark horse team that could really go back to the Super Bowl, who was just at the Super Bowl last year against the Rams. So I think right now, the Cincinnati Bengals are a team to be like, hey, they're for real. You know, where the first month of the season, we're kind of like, man, I don't know. Was it a fluke that they went to the Super Bowl? But right now, the Bengals are legit. And the Browns, they're on the outside looking in, dude. I mean, Nick Chubb had a terrible game, 34 yards rushing. Peoples-Jones, he had 114 yards receiving for the Browns. But Deshaun Watson, a touchdown and a pick, that's not going to cut it. I just think Deshaun Watson, this is a huge offseason for this young man, you know, to stay in the league and just, I don't know, you know, I just think with Deshaun Watson, I just, the whole story to me is just like a big question mark, like why? You know, like why, Deshaun? Like why did he need to bust so many nuts? I don't understand it, but a huge win by the Cincinnati Bengals. Like I said, that was the easy pick all weekend. Joe Burrow and the Bengals are a dark horse team, no doubt about it. And then we got the Houston Texans versus the Dallas Cowboys. Really, the Cowboys were an upset alert. I told you guys not to go, to not do the spread, the 16.5. I told you guys to go money line, Dallas, and it hit. I just think for Dallas right now, I mean, they've been the same team for the past, you know, decade or 2 decades. A good regular season team, but come playoff time, is Dallas going to show up? You know, which team's going to show up? But I think for Dak Prescott, this is his biggest year yet. I mean, we say that every year, but seriously, if Dak Prescott does not win you guys a Super Bowl this year, I do think the Cowboys should really move on. I do. You know, I mean, what else? Like, how many more chances do we need to give Dak? You know, and I am relying on Dak right now because they have so much talent around Dak. Like, dude, seriously, they have so much talent, and it's just like, really? They could get OBJ, and I'm hearing OBJ might not even get signed to the Cowboys. Who knows what's going to happen in that situation? But like I said, Zeke had a touchdown. Dak Prescott did not have the best game. He had a touchdown with 2 picks, and I'm looking at Dak thinking, dude, he's not a top 10 quarterback in my book. I'm sorry. You know, I mean, Dak Prescott, he seems like a good quarterback, but a top 10, I put him at like 11 to 15 quarterback, maybe even in the top 20, because I just don't see it right now. And the Cowboys, they're going to have to turn it around. I mean, they got Philly coming up. Like, Philly's no joke. Shout out to Jalen Hurts. But I think the Houston Texans, they played a good game. You know, Davis Mills, 175 yards and a pick. Chris Moore, 124 yards receiving for the Texans. I mean, they were in this game. I mean, they should have beat the Cowboys. They made a couple mental mistakes, but the Cowboys battled back 98 yards to take the lead and ultimately win the game. So, you know, big win by the Cowboys, but it's like, dude, really? You beat the Houston Texans? You have one win all year. That's pretty trash, but I'm looking at the Cowboys, and it's a big question mark coming into this playoffs yet again, just like it was last year when they lost to the San Francisco 49ers. And then we got the Detroit Lions beating the Minnesota Vikings. I went Minnesota. I thought Minnesota for sure would really game plan better for this game, but it was all Lions. I mean, they just played with more heart, more passion. And Jared Goff, 330 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, straight balled out. I mean, crazy, dude. Just insane to me. I think the Lions right now, a lot of people are underestimating the Lions, including myself. It's just right now I realize the Lions are legit, and they can be a playoff team this year. Who would have thought that the Detroit Lions would be a playoff team coming in, dude? I don't think anybody did. You know, Kirk Cousins, 425 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson went crazy. The best receiver in the league right now, 223 yards receiving, just straight balled out, dude. And you would think that they would have won this game. I mean, no one can guard Justin Jefferson one-on-one, dude. Nobody. I mean, there's some receivers, too, that you can't guard, but I just think there's something about Justin Jefferson right now where it's like, holy cow, dude. This guy is just on another level. He just is. He's just on another level. But the Lions right now, 34-23, what a win. And I think Detroit, if they continue to win, they will get in the playoffs, probably get in a wild card, and I can't wait to see that, man. Who does not want to see the Detroit Lions run deep in the playoffs this year? This would be great for the NFL because they haven't been good in so long, dude. They've been trash for so many years, dude. It's crazy, man. But shout out to the Detroit Lions getting a huge win against Minnesota Vikings. And then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars upsetting the Tennessee Titans. I picked Tennessee. I thought for sure they would win this game. And they just went completely away from Derrick Henry in the second half. And I'm thinking, why? Dude, Derrick Henry, 121 yards rushing and a touchdown. You feed him the ball, dude. And I don't know. I don't know why Tennessee went away from that. They just went away from the game plan. Ryan Tannehill, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And I just think right now the Jacksonville Jaguars, like I've been telling you guys, Trevor Lawrence is not a bust. This guy is going to be a superstar one day, and really he's been proving it to us this whole year, basically. 3 touchdowns, 368 yards passing. Evan Ingram had the game of his life, dude, which probably won't happen again, especially for fantasy-wise. 162 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. I thought it was straight luck, dude. Like, really, dude, Evan Ingram balling out like this? 162 yards receiving. Dude, this just doesn't happen. This shit does not happen like this. It's not supposed to happen. But, you know, any given Sunday, anything can happen. But I'm telling you what, Trevor Lawrence is legit. And I'm telling you, and I think for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the future, they have a bright future. They just need to surround better players for Trevor Lawrence, a better offensive line, you know, and ultimately a better defense, because the Jacksonville Jaguars had trash defense for years now, and it's just like, when are they going to, you know, really help them out? You know, seriously, but big win by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Shout out to Trevor Lawrence, a huge upset win. And then we got the Philadelphia Eagles killing the New York Giants. Just what I expected. The Eagles are legit, and I think right now who should be MVP, and I know a lot of people could disagree with this and say Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, but I do think Jalen Hurts right now should be the MVP right now. I really do. He scored his 10th rushing touchdown this season on 217 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. I mean, dude, the Philly, they've only lost 1 game to Washington Commanders. I just think right now he's the clear favorite. The Jalen Hurts. Nobody talks about Jalen Hurts either. It's just like, why, dude? This dude is balling on another level right now. He's playing with tenacity. He's playing with fire. And the Eagles, dude, they're the best team in the league. Obviously, the record speaks for itself, but just the way they play. Miles Sanders balling out as well. 144 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Then you got A.J. Brown with the touchdown on 70 yards receiving. Philly's just, dude, they're nice. In the Philly defense, they stepped up as well. Saquon Barkley, 9 carries, only 28 yards. They had to answer. And Daniel Jones, 169 yards passing and a touchdown. I just think for the Giants, if they want to be successful for this decade to come up, I just think Daniel Jones is not the guy. He's not your quarterback. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl. He's not the next Eli for sure. Nobody's the next Eli, but just something to fit into that culture. I don't think Daniel Jones is it, but Philadelphia Eagles, dude, wow, 48-22. I just think Jalen Hurts, clear MVP right now. Just playing on the MVP-like level. It's just crazy that people don't even talk about him. I feel like SportsCenter doesn't show him love either. It's just like, why, dude? Jalen Hurts has been balling, dude. Show him some love. Shout out to Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. They continue to roll on. And then we got the Baltimore Ravens beating the Pittsburgh Steelers without Lamar. And we do know Tyler Huntley, he went out with a concussion in the 3rd quarter, dude. And they got to turn to Anthony Brown. He's a 3rd stringer out of Oregon, which is crazy right now. This young man coming in right now. And I think Lamar, they do need to sit Lamar till he's 100%. You got to have Lamar for the playoffs, or else the Ravens ain't going to go anywhere. That's what we do know. But I think for Pittsburgh, man, Kenny Pickett got hurt. And Mitch Trubisky, like I said, he's been trash since he got drafted, which is pretty crazy, dude. 3 interceptions. Like, dude, Mitch, dude, he's out of the league in a couple years, dude. He can't even be a backup. He's a terrible quarterback. He's the reason they lost this game, Pittsburgh Steelers. And shout out to D.K. Dobbins, 120 yards rushing and a touchdown for the Ravens. just balled out. And I think, for the Ravens, you got to get Lamar. And I understand Coach John Harbaugh understands that, hey, we do need Lamar. And we surrounded the whole organization around Lamar since we really drafted him and let Joe Flacco go off into the sunset, basically. And I just think right now, Lamar, he's got to get healthy, dude. He's got to get that max contract this offseason. He's got to stay in Baltimore. I think it would really hurt Lamar to leave Baltimore because you have a program in the whole institution right now that's really surrounded by you. And they built this team for you, Lamar. So I think Lamar needs to stay in Baltimore. Long term, for sure. I just think this year they need him back 100%. But huge win by the Ravens. They're taking the lead in the division. This was a huge game for the Baltimore Ravens. They got it done. Even though I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I thought for sure without Lamar, no way they can win, dude. But they did. And this is why Coach John Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the NFL. He finds a way to win and different ways to win. So I love that about John Harbaugh. Shout out to the Ravens. A huge win for the Baltimore Ravens against their rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then we got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Denver Broncos. Kansas City Chiefs, yet again, beats the Denver Broncos. I think that's like 10 straight, which is crazy. Even though Patrick Mahomes did not have the best game. We saw him throw a lot of interceptions, uncharacteristic like for Patrick Mahomes. Even though he had 3 touchdowns, he had 3 picks on 352 yards passing. Jerick McKinnon, he had 112 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Man, Jerick ended up balling out for Kansas City. X factor for sure going down the line. I just think for Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, he always tries to do the extra sometimes. And I think this was one of the games where Mahomes was just trying to do just extra shit that he necessarily didn't need to do and throw a couple bad balls here and there. But, hey, they got the dub. And I think for Russell Wilson, he had 3 touchdowns and a pick. Probably his best game all year, but he went out with a concussion. And I probably say, Denver really is just going to sit Russell Wilson for the rest of the year. I mean, it's been a bad year for Russell Wilson, even though he had a good game this game. It's been a bad year for him. It really has. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of like Russell Wilson just fell off. It's like he fell off a cliff and just doesn't have his mojo, doesn't have the fire. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Russell Wilson, but to me, I called it way off guard because I'm thinking, how, dude? How is he this bad right now? But Jerry Jeudy balled out with 3 touchdowns, dude, on 73 yards receiving, dude, just straight balled out. Whoever has him on fantasy, you guys snapped off and won this weekend in the playoffs, which is crazy. But I think for Kansas City, this was a huge win. Now you're 10-3. And you're obviously going to make the playoffs. Are you going to get that first round bye? You're obviously rooting for the Buffalo Bills to lose so you can get that first round bye. But Kansas City, they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to be a threat to anybody. It doesn't matter who they play, because whoever they play, they're going to look at Kansas City and say, oh, shit, dude, Kansas City is a legit team. Patrick Mahomes is a Super Bowl winning champion quarterback, and they can beat us on any given Sunday. So I think Kansas City is definitely a team to be reckoned with come playoff time, but a big win by Kansas City on the road. And then we got the Carolina Panthers beating the Seattle Seahawks. This was crazy, man. And I thought, for sure Seattle would win. I told you guys to go heavy on Seattle, and I was off. It was all Carolina. Sam Darnold, 120 yards passing and a touchdown. Herbert, the running back, had 74 yards rushing and a touchdown. If you scooped him off fantasy, you definitely came up on that scoop. But I'm looking at Geno Smith, not the best game. 2 interceptions. One of them really was costly. He did have 3 touchdowns on 264 yards passing. Goodwin, he had 95 yards receiving and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett had a touchdown. DK Metcalf had a touchdown. You thought for sure Seattle would win, but I just think Seattle, without Kenneth Walker and defense did not come to play. Really Carolina ran all over them and really just did some different types of plays, and that was it, dude. And I just think for Seattle, this was a terrible loss right here, because now you're on the outside looking in, and you probably won't even make the playoffs this year with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. I think, for long term, definitely Seattle needs to get a younger, up-and-coming quarterback if they want to win another Super Bowl with Pete Carroll. But huge upset by the Carolina Panthers. I did not see this coming. Crazy upset. And then we got the LA Chargers versus the Miami Dolphins. I went Miami at 3. I thought for sure Tua would come out and show out, but really they're on a 2-game losing streak. Tua, 145 yards passing and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill, dude, we saw that crazy touchdown off that fumble, picked it up, ran it over 50 yards for the touchdown. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is the fastest dude in the NFL by far, by a long shot, and I just wish Kansas City never would have gave him up. Imagine if Kansas City still had Tyreek Hill, dude. They would be even better, dude. I do think they would be only a one-loss team right now if they had Tyreek Hill. That's how good Tyreek Hill is. But the Chargers came to play in that game-winning touchdown by Mike Williams. Mike Williams balled out, 116 yards receiving. And then Austin Eckler, he had a touchdown. Justin Herbert really balled out, 367 yards passing and a touchdown. And it was all LA Chargers. I thought LA would lose this game, but they won. They won 23-17. I thought it would be reversed, but Miami right now, like I said, a 2-game losing streak, and Miami just needs to get back in the win column right now. Okay, you guys started the season great. Tua did get banged up a couple games. Now he's back. There's no more excuses for Miami Dolphins. You guys do have talent. You guys have the players. I want to see you guys continue to win, but the Chargers, huge win by the LA Chargers. Now they can make the playoffs. They really can, but I don't really see them doing much in the playoffs, even if they do, but huge win by the LA Chargers. And then we got the Monday Night Football game, the New England Patriots versus the Arizona Cardinals. Sad news for the Cardinals. I went Arizona. Kyler Murray gets hurt on the first possession. A non-contact injury. It did not look good. His knee buckled up. I don't know what happened. I hope he's okay, because Arizona really signed him all the way to 2028. So, they're definitely a long-term investment for Kyler Murray. Hopefully, I'm praying he's all right. But it was all the Patriots, man. The Patriots defense stepped up when they needed to. And I just think, for the New England Patriots, they're not going to do anything special, though. I mean, dude, you got Mac Jones, and I'm not huge on Mac Jones. Even though he did have 235 yards passing, he also had an interception, no touchdown passes. I do think Coach Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches we've ever seen, but without his boy Tom Brady, it's just not the same. Tom Brady leads your team and wins that next year on a different team, a Super Bowl, and Bill Belichick hasn't been back since. So I'm looking at Bill Belichick. You guys are the last in your division right now, first time since 2000. And I'm thinking, for the Patriots' sake, it's just like, hey, without your boy, the GOAT, Tom Brady, really, how good are you guys? You're 7-6 right now. You did beat Arizona, who's a terrible team right now, but really needed some luck to do that. So I just think right now, for the New England Patriots, I don't see them doing much, even if they do make the playoffs this year. Without their boy Tom Brady, what I'm saying is Coach Bill Belichick is great, but I just think Tom Brady's greater than him. He's greater than him, dude. You need your boy. So, big win by the New England Patriots on the road on Monday Night Football. You got to love it. But overall, I'm definitely disappointed in definitely Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I went with the upset. I was completely wrong on that. But, the Philadelphia Eagles, by far the best team in the league. And then you got the Bengals and the Bills. I think the Bengals and the Bills right now are in the top 3. I think those teams right there are definitely teams that could be reckoned with. And obviously the San Francisco 49ers. But what a Week 14. Even though I missed a lot of games this weekend, I still enjoyed it. And I hope you guys came up and ran a freaking bag up. But it's the NFL. It's the Clyde with Cavs show. Let's go!